Welcome to Gridiron Ring, a sports talk show covering football and professional wrestling. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Coolhand Luke 96. WWE taking over the Windy City this weekend, November 23rd and 24th for NXT TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series 2019 in a battle of brand supremacy. Also, Friday Night SmackDown that just wrapped up a short time ago in Chicago at the Allstate Arena, followed by WWE Monday Night Raw on the USA Network this upcoming Monday night. However, the past few weeks, NXT has been taking over both Raw and SmackDown ever since Crown Jewel. The November 1st episode of SmackDown in Buffalo that I actually attended, videos from that event plus other Monday Night Raw and AEW Dynamite videos right here on Gridiron Ring's YouTube channel. Be sure to go check those out. Also, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring, Gridiron 18, and myself, your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Coolhand Luke 96 on social media. If you haven't done so already, the links are in the description below. But ever since Crown Jewel, with WWE about ready to take over Chicago this weekend, NXT's been taking over the WWE. And now first we'll have NXT TakeOver WarGames, the third ever WarGames event for NXT on Saturday night, and then that'll be followed by Survivor Series less than 48 hours away now. As mentioned, Friday Night SmackDown just wrapped a short time ago, and now we're less than 24 hours away from the start of NXT TakeOver WarGames. Now, without wasting any more time, I'm going to dive deep into my NXT TakeOver WarGames and WWE Survivor Series predictions for this upcoming weekend. But be sure, as mentioned, if you haven't done so already, like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring, Gridiron 18, and myself, your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Coolhand Luke 96 on social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, right here on YouTube, also over on Periscope, where I will have live reactions, play-by-play of both NXT TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series 2019 this upcoming weekend. The links are in the description below. Hit that red subscribe button, also the little notification bell next to as well, the thumbs up button, along with sharing this on social media. My WWE Survivor Series and NXT TakeOver WarGames predictions are as follows, and I'll start with NXT TakeOver WarGames because that event, that pay-per-view, will be first on Saturday compared to Survivor Series on Sunday night. Now, both events streaming live on the WWE Network, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday night, November the 23rd, and Sunday night, November the 24th, 2019, Chicago, Illinois, Allstate Arena. Once again, live reactions, play-by-play of both TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series. Coolhand Luke 96 on Periscope. Be sure to tune in. TakeOver WarGames, currently we have 4 matches. I highly doubt NXT will add any more by the time the event actually rolls around. So only currently 4 matches at the time of this recording. We have 2 WarGames matches, which I assume are at least going to go at least 45 minutes to an hour apiece. Plus entrances, do the math, that's at least 2 hours and 15 minutes of time for the pay-per-view on Saturday night, plus a match with Finn Balor and Matt Riddle, and also a number 1 contendership match between Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, and Damian Priest, where the winner will end up facing the current NXT champion, Adam Cole, Bebe, at Survivor Series for the NXT Championship, a match that was actually supposed to take place on NXT this past week, where we saw NXT defeat AEW for the first time in the ratings. However, they moved the match to the TakeOver event on Saturday to have 4 matches on the card. It's still probably going to be about a 3.5 hour pay-per-view, I would think, at the max, no longer. Survivor Series, where we have 2 elimination traditional Survivor Series matches, men's and women's, NXT involved for the first time ever, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Those will also go 45 minutes to an hour apiece. Also some champions matches, champions versus champions versus champions. On the women's side, the mid-card titles, brand new Intercontinental Championship as well, along with the tag teams. in action. Along also, Adam Cole will defend his NXT championship. The Fiend Bray Wyatt up against Daniel Bryan for the Universal title, along with, in a no-holds-barred match, the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar against Rey Mysterio, in which Cain Velasquez could very well get involved towards the end of the match. However, distraction costing someone a match, the win on Sunday at Survivor Series, I think that would come in the Fiend Daniel Bryan match for the Universal Championship, with The Miz costing DB his shot at becoming Universal Champion for the first time ever, setting up a feud with Miz and Daniel Bryan once again on WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Only one way to find out, though, and that is to watch the pay-per-view event on the WWE Network. Also, my live reactions, Cool Hand Luke 96 on Periscope. Be sure to tune in. So, WarGames, probably going to be a 3-hour event, Saturday night, less than 24 hours away now. And then Survivor Series, they could add, another match or two for the kickoff pre-show. As currently we have 8 matches for Survivor Series with an official 7 p.m. start as usual. And normally, as of late, if you haven't been able to tell, WWE's been trying to wrap things up by 10:30 at the latest. Now, this is Survivor Series, though. It is considered one of the big 4 pay-per-views in the WWE. Big 5 for myself, with Money in the Bank involved my favorite pay-per-view in the WWE besides the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. SummerSlam, I get it's the biggest event of the summer, and then Survivor Series has always been around, along with the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Those, as mentioned, considered your big 4, but Money in the Bank also has a lot to do with the whole calendar year, in my eyes, at least in my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion for the WWE, because it can really change what happens storyline-wise moving forward from Raw to NXT to SmackDown to pay-per-view, so on and so forth. But Survivor Series could go to 11:30 midnight. I wouldn't be surprised, and I also wouldn't be surprised if NXT mops the floor with a clean sweep of both Raw and SmackDown, taking over Survivor Series right after TakeOver WarGames. And as mentioned, that's where I'll begin now, here this evening, recording my WWE Survivor Series and NXT TakeOver WarGames, as Friday Night SmackDown just wrapped up a short time ago, less than 24 hours away from TakeOver WarGames, less than 48 hours away from Survivor Series. So 4 matches for TakeOver WarGames, 8 matches for Survivor Series. I'll start with the number 1 contendership with Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, and Damian Priest, in which the winner will become the new number 1 contender for Adam Cole's NXT Championship. NXT could go any which direction with the winner of this match. Regardless, they'll probably end up losing to Adam Cole at Survivor Series for the NXT title, because of the Undisputed Era getting involved, helping Cole retain his title, which at that point as well, it keeps storylines moving forward in the right direction on NXT TV on Wednesday nights on the USA Network, head-to-head against AEW. So it really doesn't matter who's going to win this. I'm going to pick Damian Priest, Punishment Martinez, fully known as, over Pete Dunne and Killian Dane. But, I mean, as mentioned, any which direction, I mean, I really wouldn't mind whoever wins this. Either way, they're still going to lose to Adam Cole, because, in my eyes, at least in my opinion, as mentioned, everybody has their own opinion, but, this is a prediction video, for God's sake. They'll end up losing to Adam Cole at Survivor Series on Sunday in the 8th and final match at this point in time for the NXT Championship at Survivor Series. Also, Finn Balor, Matt Riddle in singles action. Balor, ever since returning to NXT a short time ago, has been taking the wrestling world by storm. And WWE with NXT, they've been teasing us a lot since then as well. There's a lot of different options they could move forward with storyline-wise with Balor and Johnny Gargano, which was originally rumored to scheduled to take place here this weekend at TakeOver WarGames. But with Gargano out of action, insert Matt Riddle, who is actually in the men's WarGames match on Tommaso Ciampa's squad with Keith Lee, and then Dominic Dijak, actually filled the remaining spot, but then they pulled Matt Riddle, put him up against Balor. So there's still a to-be-determined participant in the men's WarGames match because of all this. But WWE's been teasing us, Finn Balor against Gargano, Finn Balor versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship potentially. And I think Finn Balor is going to win, and then as mentioned, it really doesn't matter who wins the triple threat. It's just another add-on match, just so superstars are in action. They get some time on the event, as WarGames should be one hell of an event. Survivor Series will hopefully still a show as well. And as mentioned, I really want to be surprised if NXT cleans house on Sunday, taking over the main roster of Raw and SmackDown, as NXT is or has been considered as of late the true main roster, with everyone they have down in Orlando on the yellow brand. But we could see, after Cole retains his title at Survivor Series, go up against Finn Balor for the time being, just to make sure Gargano, eventually gets healthy, returns, DIY reforms, break him up, whatever you're going to do with them. Have either Ciampa or Gargano go up against Balor for the number one contendership, to face Adam Cole then for the title, so on and so forth. There's a lot that they could do, but I think Priest is going to win the triple threat, lose to Cole. Balor will defeat Matt Riddle. Riddle will go back to not necessarily jobbing necessarily. Just NXT has a lot of superstars right now, which is a good thing. And over time, eventually, they're all going to get their shot. It's just, a matter of when. You just got to give it some time. You got to let things play out. Because and this is coming from the AEW side, Chris Jericho with a famous quote after NXT defeated AEW this past week in the ratings war in quotes. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So NXT knows that. AEW knows that. If they do too much, either of them, along with Raw or SmackDown, if they do too much at once, it's going to burn the fans out. Hell, look at Chicago. 4 straight nights. AEW's rolling in the town next week as well. It's too much wrestling. Hell, Raw, SmackDown, along with NXT now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 nights out of the week, plus AEW, plus every other promotion, plus 2 pay-per-views a couple times a year on the same weekend with TakeOver events, and then the following WWE pay-per-view. And that makes it better, though, in the long run. It builds the story. It's better for the storyline. Just build the story, build the superstar up, get him to where you actually want him to be moving forward into the future, whether or not that's as a mid-card champion, a heavyweight champion on Raw or SmackDown, or even NXT as the NXT champion. I don't see any championships in the 3 championship matches on Sunday at Survivor Series changing hands. I think Brock Lesnar is going to retain. I think The Fiend Bray Wyatt's going to retain. And I think Adam Cole's going to retain, as mentioned. I'm glad they didn't do a champions match with those 3. I'm glad they're letting storylines play out with those 3 champs right now, rather than have Brock Lesnar go up against The Fiend Bray Wyatt and also Adam Cole, baby, on Sunday. Now, for U.S. Intercontinental and NXT North American, along with the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT tag champs in that division, it's a little different because you have a little bit of more time moving forward, in which you have a lot of superstars that could vie for those titles moving forward. But Survivor Series, between the Big 4, Big 5, it's always, in my opinion at least, been my least favorite to watch, even though it is hopefully, as mentioned, going to be a damn good pay-per-view on Sunday with all the recent NXT invasions the NXT takeovers of Raw and SmackDown, and then Raw and SmackDown also invading Full Sail University, Full Sail Live for NXT just recently. Because really, what does it do for the product, for the superstars, other than saying, well, okay, yeah, we won. Technically, we have some bragging rights, over whoever we beat, so to speak. Because, hell, look at the Royal Rumble. Whoever wins the Rumble gets a championship. It's supposed to be a main event match at WrestleMania. Recently, it hasn't been like that, but normally you win the Rumble, you get a title match at Mania in the main event. You win the Money in the Bank. You have a year to cash it in to become a world champion. You win a number one contendership match. You're the new number one contender for whatever title you're going after on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, so on and so forth. Hopefully you folks understand what I'm trying to say here. I would like, and I think recently a lot of people have stated their opinion about this, and I've been saying this for quite a while, along with a lot of other things. If you want to go check out my other prediction and recap videos from WWE pay-per-views the past few years right here on Gridiron Ring's YouTube channel. Once again, like, follow, and subscribe on social media. The links are in the description below. But it's like whoever wins the traditional Survivor Series elimination matches the next night on Raw, or the weeks to come before the next pay-per-view, have, between the 5 members of whatever team just won, whether it be Raw, NXT, SmackDown, have a match between those superstars. Whoever wins that, new number one contender, they can go after whatever title they want. Just to make things a little bit more interesting. Make people, really actually want to sit down and watch it, especially the way ratings have been as of late. Just to give people that extra, I wouldn't say advantage. It would give the superstars an advantage for sure, but just that extra momentum, I guess you could say as well, just for the fans to sit down and watch. Oh, this really shakes up the storyline now. Like, really, what's going to happen? And as mentioned, NXT's been doing that as of late, teasing us what's going to happen with Finn Balor. Who's he going to go up against? Was supposed to be Johnny Gargano. Now he's up against Matt Riddle. Could he vie for the NXT Championship once again up against Adam Cole? Only time's going to tell, in the days and weeks, along with months to come with the future pay-per-views, as we'll have TLC in a few weeks from Minneapolis, followed by the New Year, along with the Royal Rumble. NXT TakeOver the night before is right now up in the air, as recently WWE has been rumored to be switching things up moving forward, starting with the Royal Rumble in Houston at Minute Maid Park at the end of January 2020, as they'll have what they call it, a Worlds Collide, I believe, tournament or something along those lines, where who knows at that point what the hell's going to happen before the rumored next Saudi Arabian pay-per-view over in Saudi Arabia. Hopefully this time around they don't get stuck. But that's really how this takeover stuff all came to be, with NXT taking over Raw and SmackDown. Whether or not this was the original plan moving forward towards Survivor Series after Crown Jewel or not, I honestly don't know. Nor do I really care, because it worked out regardless. Like, WWE pulled some strings. They brought NXT into Buffalo for SmackDown a few weeks back. As mentioned, videos from that event right here on the YouTube channel. Be sure to go check those out. And the NXT TakeOver invasion began, and NXT's involved with Survivor Series for the first time ever this year, with also Raw and SmackDown. But we'll have the next rumored Saudi Arabian pay-per-view in February. I myself think the Fastlane pay-per-view could overall be done as a whole. Could also just be scrapped for the winter spring of 2020, due to Elimination Chamber being pushed to March in Philadelphia, followed by WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, in which for sure I know we'll have an NXT TakeOver event. They could just die down on the TakeOver events with NXT being on TV every week now on the USA Network compared to being 1 hour on the WWE Network, in the recent years. But we'll find out, eventually one way or another, in the days, weeks, and months to come, as mentioned. But also, once again, this is my Survivor Series and NXT TakeOver WarGames predictions for this weekend's events here in 2019. Hopefully you're enjoying. The thumbs up button if you are. Also be sure to share this and subscribe on social media. So I think Damian Priest, Punishment Martinez as I call him, because that's what he's formerly known as on the independent scene, I think he'll win the number one contendership match over Pete Dunne and Killian Dane, end up losing to Adam Cole at Survivor Series for the NXT Championship, and then Finn Balor will defeat Matt Riddle, and then Riddle, not necessarily, so go back to being a jobber, but who knows? He could also still be the fourth man in the men's WarGames match, because that'll probably more than likely be the main event tomorrow night, I would assume. Also, maybe Velveteen Dream, maybe a former NXT superstar that's been up on the main roster for quite a while that no one's really thinking about. Could be that fourth superstar, along with a returning injured superstar. I honestly don't know who the fourth man's going to be in the WarGames match. But Riddle, with NXT having a lot of superstars, and as mentioned, it's a good thing because it gives everyone time to, have their moment. As mentioned, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And if they burn a superstar out, no one's gonna like them. I mean, look at Roman Reigns, for God's sakes, a few years back. And credit to the big dog, and credit to WWE more so than not for sticking with it. As much as us fans not necessarily despise of the big dog, but I mean, CM Punk was right on WWE Backstage this past week. The big dog in a suit, his mascot last week, whoever the hell was inside, I don't know, nor do I care. It was funny, but it was garbage. It's just the stupid little storyline stuff that it doesn't need to be in professional wrestling yet. For some reason, it still is. But credit to the WWE, a few years back, sticking with Roman Reigns after all the fans just absolutely started to hate him and booed him out of the building for God knows how long. And he defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. Beats leukemia once again. He's top dog on SmackDown, and as mentioned as well, probably eventually end up winning a championship sometime soon. Hopefully he doesn't take it off of Bray Wyatt, but that looks to be the direction they're moving forward with on SmackDown. But again, only one way to find out. I know I'm going on and on. It's all hypothetical. It's a prediction video, for God's sakes, as mentioned. But a lot of superstars on NXT, a lot of superstars up on the main roster as well. And I'm glad there's former NXT superstars that are up on Raw or SmackDown right now that are going back down to NXT to not necessarily as well, restart their career, rejuvenate it, but, it gets, and a big reason why NXT defeated AEW in the ratings this past week was because of all the invasions with Raw and SmackDown. Because a true NXT show did not defeat AEW this week. They needed help from both Raw and SmackDown, and that's why they won. Whether or not you see it like that or not, I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but it's just how things are. But eventually, Riddle will become NXT champion probably, along with Tommaso Ciampa getting Goldie back as Daddy's home once again. Gargano, Ciampa, Part 10 more than likely. Keith Lee, Dijak, Velveteen Dream, the injured superstar who could be that fourth man, along with some others that I don't think a lot of people are necessarily talking about or even thinking about at the moment. But Damian Priest, I think, will win along with Finn Balor. And then with the Undisputed Era being in the men's WarGames match and also being heels, and then with Cole Fish and O'Reilly and Strong all having matches on Sunday, they can take the loss at TakeOver WarGames tomorrow night against Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, and Dominic Dijakovic, along with depending on who that fourth man is. And it's going to get a big pop regardless of who it is. It's probably going to be Velveteen Dream, I'm thinking. It could be Triple H. It could be somebody coming down, as mentioned, a returning injured superstar in Dream. Someone we're not even thinking about. I don't know. We'll see. But Ciampa's team, regardless, I think is going to win the WarGames match on the men's side tomorrow night at WarGames. And then I think Rhea Ripley's team with Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim will win on the women's side in the WarGames match. A match that could very well kick off the show. We'll probably end up seeing Finn Balor and Matt Riddle, to be honest with you, with the men's WarGames match, main eventing WarGames tomorrow night. Because Cole's in action against Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, Damian Priest, whoever wins that on Sunday. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, they're in the Tag Team Champions match against War Machine, the Viking Raiders, and the New Day on the SmackDown side. And then Roderick Strong, Roddy's in a match with the phenomenal United States champion AJ Styles and the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura, the King of Strong Style, the current Intercontinental Champion with this brand new Intercontinental Championship that just debuted here tonight on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, a championship that all of us are for sure going to have to get used to. To me, it looks a lot like the 24/7 title that R-Truth currently has, once again, for the 69th time, we'll say. But Roderick Strong is also in a match, so I believe Undisputed Era can take the loss at WarGames and then still win on Sunday. Even though I think New Day is going to win the tag team match and AJ Styles is going to win the I shouldn't say mid-card match, but those are the mid-card championships, so we'll say that for now. So I think New Day is going to win, AJ Styles is going to win, but then Adam Cole retains his NXT championship. And then also, I believe, the women's elimination match at Survivor Series, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I think the Raw team of Charlotte Flair, Natalya, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, along with Sarah Logan, will win over Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Team SmackDown, along with Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, Mia Yim, and Toni Storm for NXT, because at that point, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim win the night before TakeOver tomorrow night at WarGames. So it evens itself out, but then I still very well could see NXT cleaning house. Adam Cole wins, Roderick Strong wins, the Undisputed Era wins, Shayna Baszler also wins her champions match. We'll have a triple threat women's champions match with the Raw women's champ Becky Lynch, the SmackDown women's champ Bayley, along with Shayna Baszler, the NXT women's champion. And then on the men's side, Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT, it's Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet versus Team SmackDown, Roman Reigns, Mustafa Ali. They changed his name once again, if you did not know. Mustafa Ali, Shorty G, Braun Strowman, along with All Hail King Corbin, and then Team NXT. And the thing with Team NXT right now, there has not been any announcement on who is on Team NXT Sunday at Survivor Series in the Survivor Series traditional elimination match 5-on-5. Now this year, with NXT involved, it's 5-on-5-on-5. So we'll have 2 15 men and 2 15 women's matches, men's and women's Survivor Series elimination matches. Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT, along with Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Shayna Baszler, Viking Raiders, New Day, Undisputed Era, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Roderick Strong, along with Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate himself, defending his WWE Championship in a no-holds-barred match versus Rey Mysterio. What the hell is this? SmackDown 2002. Along with Adam Cole versus, to be determined, the winner of the number one contendership match at WarGames the night before, along with The Fiend Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. Now, the main event of Survivor Series, I would think it's also going to be the elimination match. It's going to be Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT on the men's side, especially with so much unknown on who is actually going to be on the NXT team on Sunday. Could be 5 former NXT champions. Could be 5 former NXT superstars that were never a champ. They're up on the main roster, not doing anything whatsoever, and they still make NXT look strong. I honestly don't know. But regardless, those are my NXT TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series 2019 predictions. Thanks for listening. Be sure, if you haven't done so already, like, follow, and subscribe on social media. The links are in the description below. Hopefully, TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series will be 2 hell of events this upcoming weekend to close out November, heading on into TLC before the Royal Rumble at the end of January 2020 in Houston, Texas. So once again, I'm going to take Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominik Dijakovic, and the Mystery Partner to defeat the Undisputed Era, along with Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim over Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kaylee Ray, the current NXT UK Women's Champion. Survivor Series side of things, as mentioned, I'm going to pick the Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar to defeat Rey Mysterio to retain his WWE Championship on Monday Night Raw. I do believe Cain Velasquez or someone, maybe Dominic, Rey Mysterio's son, will be involved in the match one way or another, due to the fact that now is a no-holds-barred match, as Paul Heyman announced on Raw this past week, along with the Fiend Bray Wyatt defeating Daniel Bryan to retain his Universal Championship, because I believe Mike the Miz Mizanin will interfere and cost Daniel Bryan the opportunity of becoming the Universal Champion for the first time ever in his career, setting up a feud with the Miz and Daniel Bryan. The Fiend moves on to bigger and better things, even though Daniel Bryan's right there on the top. Along with the New Day defeating the Viking Raiders and the Undisputed Era in the Tag Team Champions versus Champions versus Champions Tag Team match, Triple Threat, at Survivor Series on Sunday. Along with the Women's Team Raw in the Survivor Series traditional elimination match, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane, and Asuka, Sarah Logan to defeat Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, and Nikki Cross, along with Team NXT, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, Mia Yim, and Toni Storm, due to the fact I believe Becky Lynch will defeat Bayley and Shayna Baszler in the Champions versus Champions versus Champions women's match. Raw Women's Champ, SmackDown Women's Champ, NXT Women's Champ, setting up a feud with Becky Lynch and Charlotte once again on the Raw side for the Raw Women's Championship. Along with Adam Cole defeating whoever wins the number 1 contendership match at TakeOver tomorrow night, along with AJ Styles, the Phenomenal One himself, defeating Shinsuke Nakamura and Roderick Strong in their Champions match, Champions versus Champions versus Champions, United States, Intercontinental, and NXT North American. Along with, and hopefully by this point, I didn't leave anything out. If I did, let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you thought in the comments below as well. Like, follow, and subscribe on social media. But there's 4 matches at TakeOver tomorrow night, 8 on Sunday at Survivor Series. Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT, first time ever at Survivor Series. And I'm going to pick Team NXT to defeat Team Raw and Team SmackDown on the men's side. And as mentioned, hopefully I didn't leave anything out. I don't believe I did. I believe I have everything covered. As mentioned, though, if I did, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to Gridiron Ring right here on YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links are in the description below. Once again, follow myself, CoolHandLuke96, on Periscope. Be sure to tune in. Live reactions on Periscope Saturday and Sunday for NXT TakeOver, WarGames, and Survivor Series 2019. But with so much unknown with Team NXT, even though at that point you normally don't pick that team or pick that superstar to win, NXT's been taking over the WWE the past month, and whoever's on the team, regardless of who it is, Team NXT will defeat the Beast Slayer and Seth Rollins, the captain for Team Monday Night Raw, Mr. Nickname, as I like to call him, because he has so many damn nicknames up to this point, along with the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre, Mr. Kevin Owens, who should be inserted into a feud with AJ Styles for the United States Championship, I would think, after Survivor Series moving forward. Now, AJ does have a match against Humberto Carrillo on Raw next week for the U.S. title in a rematch. The Viper Randy Orton also on Team Raw, along with the one and only Ricochet. Where's Aleister Black? Buddy Murphy knocked on his door, picked a fight with him, and we'll see eventually what happens there. Aleister Black could be the mystery partner for the men's WarGames match, for all I know. He could be on Team NXT at Survivor Series. As mentioned, they could, throw 5 former NXT champs on that team, 5 current NXT superstars. Hell, it might be the Undisputed Era and Kevin Owens, and then Team Raw is down a superstar. As it's supposed to be 5 on 5 on 5, but we could see, especially as of late with Triple H, with what he does best, right there on the mic in the ring, talking to former NXT superstars, NXT champions, for that matter, trying to get in their heads, trying to get them to also come back down to NXT potentially. Maybe finally, as mentioned before, and they teased it on Raw this past week, maybe, they'll have Kevin Owens lead the next NXT nexus, so to speak, on the main roster. I honestly don't know. All really, and I get it, WWE, is worried about as of late is ratings, but as mentioned, I totally understand that. But also in the Team Raw, Team SmackDown, Team NXT match, on the men's side, the big dog Roman Reigns, as mentioned, along with Mustafa Ali, Chad Gable, now Shorty G, the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman, and all hail King Corbin. But I myself, Cohan Luke 96, your host, Encyclopedia Sports. Once again, this is my WWE NXT TakeOver WarGames 2019, along with Survivor Series predictions, right here on Gridiron Ring's YouTube channel. Be sure to share those, subscribe to the channel. More prediction and recap videos to come, along with videos from being live in living color, live in attendance at professional wrestling events, live streams over on Periscope as well in the future. I am picking Team NXT, Team Yellow, to defeat Team Raw and Team SmackDown on Sunday at Survivor Series. Yellow over red and blue, even though blue is better than red, and hopefully tomorrow Penn State also defeats the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'll have live reactions play of that as well at noon Eastern time on Fox. Live reactions play all weekend long. College football, WWE, and the NFL on Periscope. Cohan Luke 96. Be sure to tune in. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, hit the thumbs up button as well. Hopefully NXT TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series will steal the show and have the whole professional wrestling world talking, moving into TLC and the Royal Rumble. Let me know also in the comments below what you thought, as mentioned, along with your early pick, your early favorite to win both the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches at the end of January. And if we're going to see CM Punk on Sunday to close out Survivor Series. I think there's a slim chance of that happening, but, a slim chance is better than no chance as of late, especially with Punk returning to the WWE, sort of. Now, I had a video out about that. Be sure to go check that out right here on the Gridiron Ring YouTube channel, as CM Punk's deal is only with Fox, not the WWE. But we know how things can, really pick up pace and happen, split of a second. So it'll be interesting to see. I know damn well we're going to have a lot of CM Punk chants as usual, both Saturday and Sunday night for both TakeOver WarGames and Survivor Series, as they will be in Chicago. Hell, they're in Chicago for SmackDown earlier But hell, the past 5-6 years since he's been gone, every event there's always a CM Punk chant. So do they really want Punk back on TV? Time will tell. I think eventually, yes, he'll be wrestling once again. It just right now he doesn't want to wrestle, and he's said that. He just wants to do what he's doing sort of as an analyst for WWE Backstage on FS1, but eventually, not Sunday at Survivor Series, I would think. Punk will be back, maybe number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Maybe he wins the Rumble. I don't know. Maybe he debuts or returns, I should say, not debuts, re-debuts, we can say then at that point, at WrestleMania 36 in Tampa. As of late on social media as well, superstars have been calling Punk out, saying they want WrestleMania matches versus the best in the world, but as mentioned, only time is going to tell. I highly doubt he'll be there on Sunday. He'll for sure be talking about it on WWE Backstage though next week. I can guarantee you that. I'll also have a thoughts and opinions video following Survivor Series weekend on the channel here sometime next week, so be sure to keep an eye out for that as well. And as mentioned, thanks for listening. If you haven't done so already, like, follow, and subscribe on social media. The links are in the description below.